So you've decided to change the course you're on. That you don't want to be part of the herd. That you want to figure out a different way to extend your lifespan and your health span. You want to try dry fasting. Well, that's a good first step because you have to have the will and determination to change the course you're on. And you can do it. You don't even have to turn around. You can just back up to a new reality. Okay, so you've decided to do a dry fast. You've decided to do a 5 or 7 day dry fast, and you need to know what you have to do to kind of get into this correctly. One of the things you're going to probably want to do is eat a bunch of fruit. I like watermelon, flushes out the bowel. You don't get constipation as you go into this period of not eating or drinking. It's a lot more comfortable that way. It also gives you a few more electrolytes. The other thing is, when you get into it, you're going to see over the first day, you're pretty much plenty of energy, no problem. You're living off of your glycogen and your glycogen pillows in the muscles, and you have plenty of energy. As that wears down, you're going to kind of slow down and get a little tired. And at that point where you've run out of glycogen, okay, and the pKa drops, your fat cells start opening up, and you start using the triglycerides in your fat cells, which are free fatty acids and glycerol. Glycerol makes the plasma glucose for the blood and the brain, because your brain cells and blood cells can't stay alive without glucose. And the free fatty acids go into the mitochondria to form water and ATP, because you got to still have ATP while you're doing a dry fast. You got to stay alive. So you get plenty of water, plenty of energy, and plenty of sugar. Perfect. You're still not eating, you're still not drinking, and you've extended autophagy into the third day. Boy, a lot of good stuff happens then. Because when you can actually get and pull the low-hanging fruit off the tree and then get up into the tree to get the high stuff, that's what you're doing the longer you stay in a fast. Because the idea here is when you turn on autophagy, it's not long enough at sleep. It's just not. You wake up right about the time chaperone-mediated autophagy takes place, which is this process late in the autophagic process where the big broken proteins, the folded proteins, get chopped up into little bits and fed into lysosomes and dissolved back into amino acids to make more cells, hence the Phoenix protocol. From the ashes of the old Phoenix, you build the new Phoenix, the same sort of thing. Play on words. Anyway, the deal is, though, as that happens and goes on, your stem cells are waking up too. They're being regenerated. So you have this huge beginning regeneration of stem cells. The first ones are the Muse stem cells, which are in the fat cells. About 3 to 5% of all the stem cells in your niches are Muse cells, and these are pluripotent. They can become any of the 3 germ lines. You can go into the epithelial wall of the vascular system when they're released, because the fat's being released of the blood along with the stem cells, and you end up with all this repair and regeneration of your vascular system. You're going to have a lot of interruptions in sleep because your brain is operating with no food and water. It's operating on your fat, so if you got enough fat to do it, and that's another point I'll talk about in another video. You need to be fat enough to actually do a dry fast, because you live on fat while you're on a dry fast. And while this time period is happening, your other stem cells, the Muse cells differentiate immediately into other cells. There's no transition phases to release and differentiation. Your regular stem cells, they go through daughter cells, transit amplifying cells, progenitor cells, which then are located into the niches and guided there by the immune system to replace the cell that needs to be replaced and start pumping out these pericurrent signals that make you act younger, because the stem cells are great cells for that. The other thing happens is that you may have a little constipation. You can do an NO if you want. Stuff is being dumped into the bowel, especially the stuff that's been held in the tissues, like the bad, the polyunsaturated fatty acids, the linoleic oils, the oleic oils, the corn oils, the soy oils, all these kind of bad oils that end up being sequestered in the cells because they don't want to use it for the mitochondria. It's really horrible stuff to do. And because these are bent free fatty acids, they make really bad cell walls too. So you need to cut those seed oils out, nut oils and vegetable oils out. The other thing that happens is right towards the end, you start really having a hard time sleeping. I mean, I always do. And what I do is I just turn on a big room fan. Let that white noise put me out, put me back to sleep. It's great. You're going to be bored. That's one of the things with dry fasting. It's kind of boring. And you're going to watch a lot of TV, and you're going to go through these changes. And fevers and chills and fevers. Fevers are important because fevers burn out bacteria. That's why you get a fever when you're sick, is actually to put the bacteria in an environment that it can't live in, which is an overheated body. So as this goes on, you'll see that you'll start getting ready and really anxious to end the dry fast. You really will. You've got to stick with it. At least 5 days or 7 if you can do it. 5 days is great because you don't need a refeeding after 5. You just basically go back to eating. You haven't gone through that really serious second acidotic crisis at the end of a 7-day dry fast, which is a misnomer because it's just elevated ketones. Anyway, so the idea here is towards the end you're not going to want to try to drop out. Don't do it. If you do a 7-day, you do have to reestablish your electrolytes, coconut water, baking soda and water, potassium, magnesium, all that kind of good stuff, because you need to be able to restore what you've been using in the body, especially magnesium. Remember, magnesium's used for ATP, so you better reestablish your magnesium to make sure all the cells, 37 trillion of them, get ATP, okay? So that's about it. I mean, you get out of the dry fast, morning of day 8 or whatever, at the end of day 7, you've been through everything, you've gone through everything, you've had some fevers, you've had some sleepless nights, you've had the fan and all that stuff, and you can exit. And I'll tell you, the first drink of that coconut water is great. I try to end the dry fast with the baking soda and water first to get the sodium in, so the sodium channels are activated on the cells to get the water back in the cells, and you'll gain some weight on the first couple of days because a lot of water weight is coming back fast, a couple 3 pounds. The rest, you burn out all this fat. It's not the way to lose weight. It's not the way to maintain a proper weight, but it's a way to really get rid of a lot of fat quickly. And you typically 15 to 18 pounds in a 7-day dry fast. So you'll lose the weight, you go back to eating, and you'll see things that were bothering you no longer are happening in your body, because this is specifically for healing diseases in Russia. And if you're not healing diseases, specific symptomatic diseases, you could be taking care of a lot of things that are right below that level and could come forth as an illness, but you've taken care of it because you've gotten rid of the irritants. That's why we dry fast. Dry fasting yearly is the way to do it. Some people do, a couple of 2-day dry fasts during the month. You don't need to. And realistically, when you think about it, a lot of the things that we're told to do in health is because nobody stops eating. And if you don't stop eating, you better modify your eating to have any kind of, resolution to some of the problems caused by eating. But that brings up the question. If eating causes the problem, how's eating going to fix the problem? And Hippocrates said, look, sometimes the best solution is to do nothing. And it is. If you do nothing, don't eat, don't drink, 5 to 7 days, all these processes the body can turn on to get rid of all this stuff that's caused you a lot of health issues over the years. And gives you a brand new beginning. Because when you think about it, after a 5 or 7 day dry fast, you got a whole new body. You got tons and tons of cells. You got brand new layer of epithelial cells in the intestinal system. You got brand new cells all over the body, and treat them gently. You got to treat them gently. You just can't start wolfing down the food like after a 5-day. On a 7-day, you've got to be very, very careful. You have to introduce food slowly, broths, bone broths, vegetable broths, that kind of stuff to get the nutrition infused in the vegetable soups, the broth, and then slowly start integrating the solid foods, breads and meats and stuff like that if you want to eat that stuff again. You can change your diet completely and go off in a whole new direction now and be really, really healthy, or you can just go back to eating what you like to eat and not worry about it, and then in a year, dry fast again, and you'll take care of a lot of the problems that occurred during that year. But you will notice, okay, after your first dry fast, you're going to excrete a lot of this orange goo because you've been holding on to these polyunsaturated fatty acids inside your cells for years because they couldn't get rid of it during normal nightly sleep. So that'll be gone. You'll notice maybe the second year, you'll get a little bit of that, but after that, hardly anything, which proves the point that these are accumulated oils and gunk that's been in there for years that you're finally able to get rid of. And once that pressure is off, man, it really helps. Anyway, so buy the book, The Phoenix Protocol, dry fasting, and learn how to do it. Be educated in this, make sure you know what you're doing, and you got to decide to do it. You got to put time away and in advance, schedule it to do this for yourself. This is personal maintenance, and it saves hundreds of thousands of dollars in health problems later on. So Have a great day. I'll be talking more about the individual phases of dry fasting and the benefits in the coming videos. But I wanted to just sort of start this series for the new subscribers especially, and for my old buddies that are out there still writing me all the time. Respond in the comment section under the video, and I will certainly address these issues. I usually try to answer every single question that comes across the YouTube channel. Anyway, so that's it for today, and have a great day.